I know Dave Ramsey has his own 7 baby steps, but I have my own steps to financial freedom. I am Tiffany Thomas with WealthyTiffany.com, and I achieved financial freedom at age 38, which means I can live the lifestyle I desire without having to worry about working for money or relying on someone else for money. I now have the freedom to travel whenever I would like and wherever I would like, as long as the world is allowing me to do that. But I did go to Lake Tahoe recently, which was absolutely beautiful. I had never been there before. I also went to Zion National Park not too long ago. And I also have the freedom to watch my sister's dogs for her when she would like me to. And I'll be doing that again soon. I also have the freedom to get a 9-to-5 job again if I wanted to. Or I can just sit at home and read a book if I wanted to. The thing is, I now have that financial freedom, so I can live the lifestyle that I really desire to. Financial freedom has given me the choice to live the way I want to and to spend time on things that I enjoy doing or spend time with people that I like being around. If you are looking for that freedom, then stick around till the end of the video because I'm sharing the exact steps that I took to get there. Before we dive in, comment below and tell me what age you would like to become financially free. And while you're at it, hit that like button and the subscribe button. All right, the first thing I did when I found out that people were becoming financially free at young ages, that they were retiring early, I wanted to figure out, okay, how much am I going to need in order to do that? I had to figure out my financial freedom number. And after doing some research, I found out that this is pretty simple to figure out. All you do is take your annual expenses, your yearly expenses, and multiply that number by 25. And it would be the expenses that you'll have in retirement. And it could be a little tricky to figure that out. You could just take your current expenses and use that number and multiply that by 25. Or you could increase that a little bit or decrease that a little bit depending on how you feel. If you think your expenses are going to rise when you are retired or they are going to drop. And if you want more clarification on that, I have a video that I've done, so I will leave a link below in the description and right above up here. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say your annual expenses are $40,000. You would take $40,000 and multiply that by the number 25, which would give you $1 million. Your financial freedom number would then be $1 million. That would be the amount you would want to have invested, which then means you can withdraw $40,000 every year without running out of money in retirement. And if you want more clarification about how this number came to be, it's called the 4% rule, and I did a video about this, so I will leave a link in the description below and above right here. Now, once I had my financial freedom number figured out, I then had to figure out, okay, how much do I currently have? I have a large marker board that I wanted to put this on so it would be in my room front and center and I could see it every day. So I pulled out the marker board and started to write down exactly how much money I had coming in currently. Because I have rental properties, I wanted to include that cash flow from each of my properties, including my own because I do have roommates. And just as a side note, yes, I do have spreadsheets with a breakdown for each of my properties and a spreadsheet for my budget or my spending plan, as I like to call it. And that includes my net worth. And I also use Personal Capital. It's a free app you can use, and you can link all of your financial accounts to this app and see all of your finances in one place, which I really love because I check that almost every day just to keep track of my net worth and make sure my bills are paid and rent is showing in my accounts, things like that. It makes it really, really simple. So I really like having just a quick place to view all of my finances at once. But since this was something new, this was my financial freedom plan, my financial freedom number, I really wanted to have a visual of this. So that's why I decided to pull out my marker board and write down all of the cash flow that was coming in and all of my investment accounts that I have, my brokerage account, my Roth IRA, my traditional IRA. And the reason I'm writing down all of the cash flow that's coming in from each of my properties is because I plan to hold properties for the long term. So I will continue to have this cash flow coming in, this passive income, and I want to deduct that from my annual expenses. Now that I knew how much passive income I already had coming in, I could deduct that from my expenses and I could see exactly how much money I had invested. And I did not include my savings account because that money is not working for me. It's not invested in the stock market. It's just sitting in a savings account earning very little interest. So if I was to start withdrawing that money, it would be completely depleted because it's not replenishing itself because it's not invested. So only look at money that is actually invested, that is working for you. The next step I took was to figure out how much more I am actually going to need. I took all of my expenses and then I deducted out the cash flow that I had coming in from my rental properties, any passive income that I had, and then I multiplied that number by 25. To give you an example, let's say your original expenses were $50,000 per year, and you have $10,000 coming in per year from passive income. That would mean your expenses would be $40,000, and you would multiply that by the number 25, giving you $1 million, which would be your financial freedom number, the number you want to work toward to have invested in order to retire or become financially free. Then I took the amounts that I had in my investment accounts and subtracted that from my financial freedom number. For example, if you have $500,000 already invested in a 401k or Roth IRA, whatever type of investment account you have, then you would need $500,000 more to invest. Or if you want to increase your passive income, then you could increase that by $20,000 and you would already be at your financial freedom number because 20,000 times 25 is $500,000. So you can look at it two different ways. Either start to accumulate the money that you're going to put into your investment accounts or increase your passive income. Or of course, you can do a mix of both of those. And then clearly the next step is to figure out how you want to do it. So do you want to increase your passive income, or do you want to start investing that money in the stock market and build up the rest of your money to achieve your financial freedom number? For me, I wanted to become financially free as soon as possible. So one of the first things I did was to decrease my expenses. And this helps you in more than one way, because if you're decreasing your expenses, then you are spending less money, which means your financial freedom number is going to be less. Because if you originally calculated it at 40,000 expenses, but now you've been able to reduce your expenses by, say, 10,000, then your expenses are only $30,000. So you would only need to multiply 30,000 times 25, which would be $750,000 instead of $1 million. And here's just a few of the things that I did to reduce my expenses. First off, I took a look at all of my expenses. So I opened up my budget, my spreadsheet, and took a look to see, okay, what exactly am I spending my money on? What memberships do I have? How much is my auto insurance? How much is my phone bill? Everything. I took a look at all of my expenses, and I highly recommend doing this, even if you're not ready to work toward financial freedom, but this will give you a really good picture on where you're spending your money, and you can really decide, okay, do I really need to be spending my money in these places? Are these my true priorities? And that's what I did. I took a look at each one and thought, do I really want to be spending this amount on this item? And then I started to cut off some of the expenses and reduce some of the expenses. And honestly, every year I call my internet provider because they usually do a year promotion for a lower price. So when that promotion ends, I give them a call and say, hey, what's the new promotion that you're running? I need to lower my internet bill. And you can call around and get different quotes for auto insurance, for home insurance, car insurance. You can bundle those things. One other thing that I did was increase my deductibles for the home insurance that I have on each of my properties. And that lowered my monthly rate that I was paying. And I do realize, yes, I'm going to have to pay more money if I need to use my insurance policy, but I can just increase my savings and realize, okay, I'm going to have to pay more money if I need to use that policy. And I took a look at my variable expenses, how much I was spending on groceries, for example, or clothing or shoes, all of those types of things, and thought, okay, do I really need to be spending this much money, or how can I really reduce some of these expenses? So that helped me to really cut back on spending, and that wasn't to deprive myself of something. It's really not about deprivation, it's about prioritization. It's about spending on things that are actually going to bring you joy or bring you happiness. It's really focusing on what you want to be spending your money on, instead of just swiping that credit card and not really thinking about it and then getting your bill later and being surprised and thinking, what did I spend my money on? Once I took a look at all of my expenses and got rid of some of them and reduced some of them, then I decided, okay, I need to actually make my money work for me. And I decided for me, if I purchased at least one more property that was a 4-bedroom property, I could create enough cash flow to make up the difference I would need to become financially free. In doing this, I decided to take some of the money out of my investment accounts and put that toward a down payment on the property, which meant I had to readjust my numbers since I was pulling out some of the money from my investment accounts. But I was fully aware of that, so I readjusted so it would still work. And that's exactly what I did. I purchased my 4th property and was able to create enough cash flow from that last property to become financially free. And some people call it lean financial freedom, which just means the basic expenses are covered. And if I didn't ever want to have to work again, I wouldn't need to. And if you're thinking, Tiffany, real estate is not exactly passive, you'd be right. And that's why I included a buffer. If I want to hire a property management company, then I could still pay for that and be just fine. But for now, I'm going to continue to manage my own properties. I continued to keep my expenses low and ended up paying off one of my properties, which meant that I was actually financially free. So I'm living about the same lifestyle I was before when I was working for money, but now I no longer have to work for money. And there's also something called FAT, financial freedom, or FAT FIRE, financial independence, retire early. And that means you have even more of a cushion to live a more extravagant lifestyle. So I'm working toward some version of that. So if I want to fly first class, then I could do that. Those are my baby steps to financial freedom. And I just want to share a few lessons that I have learned along the way. You are the one that is living your life, and you want to make sure that you are happy. So I don't want you to think you need to deprive yourself of everything that is bringing you joy, but it's really about priorities, focusing in on what is most important to you. And yes, we should be making sacrifices along the way. It will feel a lot better when we reach that goal if we've actually worked really hard for it and sacrificed some. But it doesn't mean that you need to live a miserable life and only eat ramen noodles and never go to a movie or go out with your friends. We need to find joy in the journey along the way. And the path to financial freedom is very customizable. That's what's so great about it. It's not these strict steps that you have to take in order to achieve financial freedom. It's about setting your own goals and following your own path to financial freedom, the one that works best for you. If you have no interest in investing in real estate and it makes you sick to your stomach to think about it, then don't invest in real estate. Invest in the stock market. One thing that I didn't mention in the video is that I ended up quitting my full-time job. And I'm sure if I would have kept my full-time job, I could have achieved financial freedom even sooner. But I was not happy at my job. I was happy there for a really long time, but toward the end, I just wasn't happy. So I wanted to get out of that situation, and I had set myself up. I had money in my savings account. I had cash flow from properties that I already had. I had investments. So I had set myself up to be okay in order to quit my full-time job and not be frantic or super worried about things. And I was able to start my own business and grow that over time. So it took me longer to achieve financial freedom, but I did it the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to be happy. So set your long-term goals and you decide the path that you take to get there. Here's to becoming financially free. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.